In the previous video, I compared two RGB SCART cables for the Sony PlayStation 2, the Sony Official RGB SCART cable and a third-party Sync-on Luma SCART cable from Retro Gaming Cables. The two cables were great, but the Sony Official one had capacitors, which meant it was designed for the PlayStation console, therefore this could potentially reduce image quality. The cable did keep up until we used both 480p progressive scan mode and 1080i output via MCBoot, where the third-party cable pulled ahead with a much sharper and less messy picture. Now, I wanted to see if the same thing occurs if we use a third-party component cable instead. In this case, the Joytech Component Cable is the challenger and costing me around £30 from eBay. It is £50 cheaper than the Sony Official RGB SCART cable. To see which one is better, both cables will be processed by the OSSC. The 480i 576i games were passed through, meaning I deinterlaced them in OBS. 480p content was line doubled to 960p, and I played some games with 1080i resolution via MCBoot to see if any more differences surface. Let's begin. I picked Battlefield 2 Modern Combat first, and this game does support 60Hz via 480i. Looking closely at the footage, I feel both look pretty similar to me. Both cables produce a decent image from this standard resolution output, and neither show any obvious problems such as video noise or smeary colours. Let me know if you think any differently in the comments. WRC3 is next, and this is in 576i, yes, PAL only. Again, even with the widescreen mode used, both cables look practically the same in my eyes. Maybe on closer inspection there could be a small, I mean very small difference, but I'm pretty sure both look identical. Again, let me know if you see a difference. Soulcalibur III has 60Hz, but no 480p for the PAL version. We were robbed. Anyway, this game doesn't seem to change the results seen thus far. The game looks practically the same using both cables. It's a bit surprising considering that the Sony Official cable was made for the PlayStation 1 rather than the PlayStation 2. I'll show you some more standard resolution footage, then we will turn up the quality dial as we see if 480p line double to 960p makes a difference. Haunting Ground supports 480p, and let's see if a difference occurs. Both cables do look pretty similar, but on closer inspection the Joytech component cables have the edge in sharpness and image clarity. It's not a substantial difference, but it is visible and proves that the capacitors on the SCART cable can indeed affect image quality. Prince of Persia also has 480p support. Again, the image quality differences are not massive, but the Joytech component cables do edge out the SCART cable enough to show that cables made specifically for the PlayStation 2 are your best bet for getting the most out of the console. Driver Parallel Lines has 480p support, although it does look a little bit soft. Not sure if it's the widescreen causing this or if the special effects are making it blurrier than it should be. Regardless, the Joytech component cables are slightly sharper, but once again the difference isn't massive. 480p does favour the Joytech component cables, although the SCART cable is still hanging in the fight. I'll show a few more 480p supported games, then I'll be breaking out the heavy artillery. Our last test will involve using MCBoot to force the resolution output to 1080i. Surely the SCART cable is toast, right? Let's see. Guilty Gear X2 is first up, and luckily this PAL version has 60Hz, so we can take full advantage of 1080i resolution. I saw straight away the sharpness falling away on the SCART cable, and the component cable really shined. There's no doubt that the capacitors on the Sony cable are affecting its performance, and it seems the higher resolution is causing it to struggle. Of course, you can get PlayStation 2 specific RGB SCART cables, and it will fix the problem. Black has both 1080i and 480p applied to it, and it makes for a breathtaking display. I love this game, and the component cables definitely held up. The SCART cable looked good, but side by side the image doesn't hold up, looking slightly smeary and lacking some of the more pronounced detail shown with component. If you had to choose between the two cables, component wins. Tekken 4 was played using 1080i mixed in with 480p. The results are spectacular, although the game window is slightly smaller and stretched more than normal. What is clear is just how much crisper the 1080i footage looks via component compared to the RGB SCART cable. This game has the most conclusive result yet. I will show the rest of the games I played for this video using 1080i, and then I shall give you my final conclusion on the two cables. I will see you at the end. There we are, two different cables tested. What did we learn? RGB SCART cables and component cables for the PlayStation 2 can produce identical image quality as long as the cable in question is of acceptable build quality and is built specifically for the PlayStation 2. It is surprising how the RGB SCART cable kept pace despite not being built for the PlayStation 2, but this video does show why perhaps you should think twice about which cable to get in order to get the best image quality possible. Most of you will not play in 1080i, so the choice is yours, RGB or component. You folks let me know, what are your thoughts on the matter? Tell me in the comments and I will see you soon.